Rolls-Royce is a symbol of power, luxury, and perfection. A millionaire's dream, a legend on wheels. But the truth is that this symbol of wealth started with a boy who had nothing. A story that started with a poor boy who had nothing to eat, not even food. But even in his darkest days, hope kept him going. His name was Henry Royce. Born in a quiet English village in 1863, he opened his eyes to a life of struggle. When Henry was only 4 years old, his father's business collapsed. The family lost everything and their future was in ruins. At the age of 9, tragedy struck again. Henry's father dies, leaving the family broke and hungry. From that moment on, survival became his only goal. His mother worked day and night as a maid, while young Henry went out to earn some coins, selling newspapers on cold streets. He had no toys, no school, no rest, just existence. Yet something powerful lived inside the little boy's determination. He refused to accept that poverty would define him. He believed that even a broken life could be rebuilt through hard work. That faith, that fire will one day transform his name into a symbol of excellence, as the world now knows as Rolls-Royce. He didn't know it yet, but those difficult days would shape his destiny. Henry's life began to change at the age of 14. One of his aunts saw something special in him, a spark. He helped him secure an apprenticeship with the Great Northern Railway Company. Henry worked tirelessly for the next 3 years. Days at the factory, nights with books. He learned carpentry, mathematics, and the new magic of the time, electricity. By the age of 17, he had become a skilled mechanic. At the age of 21, he worked as an engineer at Maxim Western. But fate had something else in store. The company went bankrupt. Henry could have easily found another job. Instead, he chose the more difficult path of starting his own company. With just $20 saved, he opened a small workshop in Manchester. He called it F.H. Kept Royce & Company. His friend Ernest Claremont joined as a partner. At first, Henry did whatever work he could find, such as repairing lamps, sewing machines, and electrical equipment. Then came his first big idea. He saw how the homes needed better lighting and electrical parts. So he started making bulb holders, doorbells, and arc lamps. Soon the business exploded. By 1900, his small company was making over $20,000, a huge sum at the time. At the age of 38, Henry Royce had it all, a family, a factory, and success. But the success did not last long. In 1901, German and American companies entered the British market. Prices fell, sales fell. Royce's empire began to collapse. The pressure broke his health. A doctor told him to rest and breathe fresh air. So Royce decided to take a break and bought a small French car, the Danville. But that car was a disaster. Noisy engine, bad brakes, constant overheating. For a perfectionist like Henry, this was unacceptable. So they didn't just fix it. He made it from scratch. And that one decision will change the world forever. The car that Henry rebuilt was nothing like the French Deceville. It was a fast, light, and smooth machine built to perfection. That success gave Henry new confidence. If he can fix a broken car, he can fix his own car. He assembled a small team and began working day and night. In a modest workshop, he designed a 2-cylinder, 10-horsepower car. Every bolt, every screw was made by hand. When the car finally hit the road on April 1st, 1904, it ran for 50 kilometers without any faults. Royce built 2 more, tested them, refined them, and perfected them. But while he could build great cars, he didn't have the funds to sell them. Then fate brought him to Charles Rolls, the second hero of this story. At a car show, Charles Rolls noticed a cool little car parked in a corner. He was an adventurous motorist and was already a successful car dealer. The moment he saw Royce's creation, he was amazed. He told his partner, "I just met the best engineer in the world." Soon after, Rolls-Royce decided to merge. Their namesake would soon become a legend, Rolls-Royce. In 1906, his company was officially established. They released models from 10 to 30 horsepower and participated in the racing tournament to prove his strength. From the Isle of Man to the Tourist Trophy, Rolls-Royce cars dominated every race and broke new records. But his greatest creation was still waiting to be born. Towards the end of 1906, he unveiled a 6-cylinder, 40-50 horsepower car. It was silvery, quiet, and smooth like a whisper. People said it runs like a ghost, and thus the famous Silver Ghost was born. They called it the Silver Ghost because it moved so quietly, like a ghost flying in the air. To prove its perfection, Rolls-Royce planned a daring endurance test. Silver Ghost was driven day and night for 2.5 months. covered a distance of 24,000 kilometers without a fault. The test was completely successful. The world had never seen a car so smooth, so reliable, so perfect. But Rolls-Royce did not stop there. He organized special demonstrations, one of which became known as the whisper test. He placed a coin on the hood of the car in front of the crowd and drove the silver ghost. The coin didn't even move. That day, people realized this car was not made just like that, it was designed. Soon, the silver ghost became a topic of discussion around the world. Kings, queens, and industrial giants all wanted one. It was no longer just a car. It was a status symbol. The Rolls-Royce collaboration became a masterpiece of success. But just when the company was taking off, tragedy struck. Charles Rolls, always fond of flying, on July 12, 1910, Wright flew an airplane called the Flyer. The rear part of the plane burst in the air, and the plane crashed from a height of 100 feet. Charles Rolls lost his life at the age of just 32. He became the first person in Britain to die in a plane crash. The loss broke up the company, and Henry Royce was once again left to recover from heartbreak and pain. Soon after Rolls' death, Henry Royce's own health began to fail. Doctors diagnosed him with bowel cancer. He underwent a major operation, but even after that, the doctors gave him only 3 months to live. Most would give up, but not Henry Royce. Even in pain, he continued to work with the Silver Ghost, enhancing the design, improving every detail. And then, something incredible happened. 3 months passed, but he did not die. He recovered completely, a miracle that even doctors could not explain. After he returned, Royce further improved the Silver Ghost. They increased the ground clearance, improved the suspension, and created a stronger chassis, making it stiffer and slimmer than ever. Around this time, wealthy car owners began placing personal mascots on their cars. But there were some flaws, something Rolls-Royce didn't want on its masterpiece. Therefore, the company decided to create its own symbol. They designed a new mascot inspired by actress Eleanor Thornton. It showed a woman leaning forward. The arms were stretched back as if they were flying in the air. It represented grace, speed, and freedom. He called it the spirit of ecstasy, soul of Rolls-Royce. With each improvement, sales increased rapidly. In 1913, profits exceeded $90,000, and the company planned to expand worldwide. But then the world changed. The First World War began in 1914. Luxury car companies collapsed overnight. The Rolls-Royce factories fell silent. Still, Henry Royce refused to stop. He met military officials and transformed the Silver Ghost into an armored fighting vehicle. They added 8mm steel armor, a rotating machine gun turret, and sent the cars to the battlefield. They roamed the deserts carrying wounded soldiers and completed dangerous espionage missions. Silver Ghost proved one thing even in war. Perfection never breaks, it adapts. During the war, many Silver Ghosts were converted into ambulances. They had room for stretchers, nurses, and medical equipment. Electric lights were added for night protection. These cars saved thousands of lives on the battlefield. Because of their comfort and strength, Rolls-Royce cars were also used. Generals, diplomats, and royal messengers. While working with the army, Henry Royce observed an important thing. The British Air Force depended on French engines. Britain had its own needs. Royce saw an opportunity. In 1915, he entered the completely new world of aircraft engines. He studied aircraft engines himself, and within a few months, he created his first masterpiece, the Eagle. The engine was powerful, light, and incredibly reliable. By the end of that year, the British Air Force ordered 500 Eagle engines. But Royce didn't stop there. They built the Hawk for light aircraft, Falcon for small aircraft, and the Condor for long-range bombers. These engines gave Britain a huge lead in the war, from dogfights to espionage missions, and he became an important reason behind Great Britain's victory. After the war ended in 1918, Rolls-Royce focused on both cars and engines. They launched a small car, the Rolls-Royce 20, but the competition from Bentley and Cadillac grew stronger. In 1925, Rolls-Royce counterattacked. They replaced the Silver Ghost with a bold new model, the Phantom. It was fast, strong, and came with 4-wheel brakes. Phantom was a huge success. It brought Rolls-Royce back to the top of the luxury world. A few years later came the Phantom II, and in 1931, Rolls-Royce also bought Bentley. Their first collaboration, the Bentley 3.5L, became a legend. But unfortunately, Henry Royce never saw it. 22 April 1933, aged 70, the great engineer drew his last breath. a few months before the car's release. His vision lived on even after his death. If you are writing a formal text, from Silver Ghost to Phantom, from the road to the sky, Rolls-Royce became a symbol of excellence. The company saw many ups and downs, new icons like Silver Shadow and Ghost, and financial conflicts that divided the car and motor divisions. Today, the car brand Rolls-Royce belongs to BMW. But one thing never changed: the meaning of the name Rolls-Royce. It still symbolizes perfection, prestige, and timeless craftsmanship. Owning a Rolls-Royce is not just about buying a car. It owns a masterpiece, born from the dreams of a poor boy named Henry Royce. From fixing streetlights to building the world's best machines, Henry Royce's journey proves one truth: you don't have to be born rich to do something royal. He faced poverty, failure, disease, but his determination overcame all obstacles. He did not pursue luxury. He pursued perfection, and luxury pursued him. Even today, over a century later, every time a Rolls-Royce engine roars or a Phantom glides down the road, it whispers his story, the story of a man who never gave up. So whenever life feels impossible, remember Henry Royce, the poor boy who built a brand the world now calls the standard of excellence. Because true success is not built in comfort. It's built through persistence, powered by belief.